Get your joy up, embrace this brand new day. Let light and love fill you up. Get your morning cup of Jubilee. So much goodness waiting, so much overflow. All this anticipation. Morning cup of Jubilee. Faith, love, and joy, the equation. Feeding your soul, you're amazing. Daily you're celebrating. Morning cup of Jubilee.
Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to Morning Cup of Jubilee. I'm Jubilee, your host, and I'm so glad that you decided to tune in today. Before we get into the pour of the day, here is the play of the day. This gives you a moment to go ahead and grab your cup and your hot beverage, your cold beverage, whatever you're going to have. Go ahead and grab it, and we'll be back in a moment.
Oh yes, I'm grateful. 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 Oh yes, I'm grateful.
God hasn't promised me the sun. That's not how it's going to be. We go through the storm and rain, but remember to be.
So thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Cup of Jubilee. I am Jubilee, your host, and every episode will be dedicated to someone who has inspired me and filled my cup. And so today's episode of Morning Cup of Jubilee is dedicated to my late grandmother, Doris Maud Stewart. She introduced me to Christ, and she actually is the reason why I love tea and all hot beverages, because every morning before we went to school, she would make porridge or hot chocolate or tea with milk in it, and we had something to warm our bellies before we went off into the cold to go to school. And so she is the reason why I understand the beauty of hope. She is why I love warm cups of tea, and she is who this episode is dedicated to today. So continue to rest in peace. Love you, Grandma. And so it is time for today's sip of inspiration. I want to talk to you about peace. And I'm not talking about peace by shutting off all the lights and turning off the music and just sitting quietly, which could be a part of it. I'm talking about what's happening inside of you. And in my book, my latest book called The Crisis in the Crown, there's a chapter in there that's entitled DONO, Drown Out Noise Often. So today I want to talk to you about how do you drown out the noise that is happening internally so that you can tap into peace that surpasses all understanding. And so first and foremost, drowning out the noise involves sometimes just setting a moment aside for yourself, especially in the morning. That's when I do it. But if it doesn't work out for you in the morning, find another part of the day. But for me, it is the morning before I even allow my feet to touch the floor. I sit, I take a moment to meditate, to center myself, try not to be on my phone, right? Try not to be scrolling, and just be present in the moment, right? Drowning out the noise, drowning out social media, drowning out text messages and phone calls, and just centering, right? And so you want to be able to drown out the noise, right? Secondly, you're talking about connecting, right, with yourself, with inner peace. You want to ensure that you are saying positive things to yourself as often as possible, giving yourself affirmation, right? And this is another thing that I do before I actually allow my feet to touch the ground, right? If I feel worry or anxiety, I'm like, you know what? I know God's got me today. I know that with faith, nothing's impossible. I start to just repeat these things in my mind before I allow my feet to touch the ground, right? And then I have a quiet space, right? And I would encourage you to get a quiet space. And I know you might have young children, you might be a caretaker, you might not have a bunch of time in the morning, right? But to find a quiet space for you, mine is in my closet, that's where I go, so that you can really continue to pray and just be calm, right? Sometimes I don't turn my light all the way on in the morning, and I just ease into the morning, right? And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. Inner peace, drowning out noise, easing into your morning, saying positive things to yourself, positive affirmations, reading scripture, to be able to ease your way into the morning. And that can change the trajectory of your day. And so that is today's sip of inspiration. You've been tuned in to Morning Cup of Jubilee, where every drop inspires, uplifts, and restores.